I might add I'll add a little theme song in post, so just pretend you're being played in.
Sweet. Cool. You guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Confederacy of Dunks. This is episode 300. I am your host, Freddie Rivas. We are on the Raptors Republic. Let me throw to my co-host and producer, Andy Hull. What's up, Andy? How you doing?
300 episodes. We did it. We did it. All 300. Just me and you. I've been here forever. I just want to thank everyone who got me here. Doing these previous 299 episodes has been a real labor of love, and I'm really happy that I could be a part of it.
Yeah, and I'm also happy that you're forcing me out.
Yep, and you're gonna be gone after this one, and it's just gonna be me. And it's gonna be real different around here.
Yeah, it's pretty intense, but we'll go with it.
It's a bit of a hostile takeover, and honestly, it's making waves.
Yeah, it's for the best.
Mm-hmm.
Our special guest for this 300th episode. He's done the podcast many times. He's hilarious, incredible producer, amazing improviser. Just also, draft nut, Raptors fan. How's it going? What's up, Matt Mcready?
Oh, I'm a draft nut, baby. I'm so excited for this draft we're going to be doing later on. Make sure to listen to the entire episode, folks, because you're in for a treat at the end.
Damn right. We're doing a draft.
Is this the first draft ever on the Confederacy of Dunks?
We have done drafts before.
Okay, I didn't know.
It's been some time. We've done drafts with
Matt. Forgot because I've been here for so many episodes that they all kind of melt together. You know what I mean? So that's why I didn't know that.
I didn't know anything, man. I'm just like the viewer at home. I'm in for a treat.
Damn right. I like that. I like that setting up. Nice.
Burn on the viewers at home, I guess, though. Yeah. I don't know anything.
We don't feel that way about you at all.
No, I think the viewers at home know a lot more than that. So
yeah.
We'll educate you slobs.
Wow. Hot start, just insulting the shit out of people.
300 is where we stop.
Yeah. We're gonna get shut down. Guys, let's start with that incredible Raptors Spurs game. I think there was something like, I don't know, 122 countries tuning in to see mostly Wembanyama, but also Schroeder, and there's like a whole international thing. And we'll get to all the sort of Raptors implications in a second, but it was it tied for the greatest Raptors fourth quarter comeback in franchise history. 17 points. And I was curious about the other game. So this is a little quiz I told you guys about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the other game was against the Pistons, December 11th, 2010. December 11th, 2010. So you each get 3 strikes. And the question is, there was 21 players that played in that game. Wow. 10 for the Raptors, 11 for the Pistons. Let's see how you guys can do. This is honor system. Don't look at the game. Hit me. Who was in that game? Who played any minutes in that game?
Tayshaun Prince.
Prince.
For both teams?
For both teams.
Oh, wow.
Tayshaun Prince, yes, played 37 minutes.
Ooh, I want to say Chauncey, but was he playing for the Nuggets at this point?
I don't know what he might. I don't see any Iverson here, but also Chauncey did not play.
Oh,
so that's a strike for you.
Chris Bosh.
Yeah.
Chris Bosh did not play in this game.
Whoa, what? Really?
Holy shit.
What's going on? Where's my mind at?
I know.
Okay.
Jose Calderon.
Yeah.
Jose Calderon did not play in this game.
What? Hedo Turkoglu.
I'm nearly out.
Hedo Turkoglu did not play in this game.
What?
Who did Andy guess?
I guess Hedo Turkoglu.
Hedo.
Oh boy.
No Raptors so far. We got Tayshaun Prince.
Yeah, am I gonna win 1-0?
You might.
You know what? Andrea Bargnani.
Andrea Bargnani, yes, played 37 minutes, 22 points.
I feel like I'm at least gonna win the minutes amount at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, we're adding those all up.
Okay. All right. Okay. 2010. What was happening in my life at 2010? That's what I gotta start thinking about because that's how I remember sports eras. What was I doing? I was doing comedy at Comedy Bar.
Oh no, nothing's changed.
God. Yeah, wait.
Existential crisis kicking into the guests of the Confederacy of Dunks.
Okay.
What was going on? I'm going to ask myself, what was going on in the Raptors in 2010? I feel like that might help me out.
Well, yeah, you have Bargnani.
I have Bargnani.
That was going on.
But no Calderon?
Yeah,
no Calderon.
Calderon must have been injured or something. Like, there's no way.
He might have been, yeah.
There's no way Calderon wasn't playing for the team at that point. Oh man,
Carlos Delfino.
Carlos Delfino was not playing in that game.
Boom! 1-0. All right, then I'll take some random guesses.
Isn't this the whole quiz though? There's no other. This is like.
This is it.
Here's a shot.
Also, just to show, give you guys a little window on my personality. I for sure thought this was me and Matt working together to try to do this. And he's like, I got you. You're fucking dead.
Yeah, if that was the case, we could have talked it out a little bit.
That's what I thought we were gonna do. But that's
I should have made it friendlier. You know?
No, you're good.
We can revise that. Okay.
All right. Rodney Stuckey.
Rodney Stuckey. Let's see. Yes, he was playing.
Yeah. Wow. How do I know more? Fucking
23 points, 36 minutes. He was tied for the high scorer for the Pistons. Who you haven't named?
I know I'm out, but I'm gonna keep playing.
No, keep going. Who cares?
Yeah, who cares? You guys can phone a friend here.
All right, I'm gonna phone Alex Kolenko just for fun.
Yeah, actually phone a friend.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask Stuckey and see who was on that team with him. Okay, so the Raptors. Who the fuck was playing for the Raptors?
What's his name?
Bonner. Was Bonner on the team at that point?
Bonner was not on the team.
Oh my lord.
Or I mean, he wasn't playing in the game.
Anthony Parker.
No, we're not there.
Jamario
Moon. Sorry, guys.
I think we're too early. I think these players are too early. This is like
dancing around the timeline. Can I give you a clue?
Aaron Gray.
Amir Johnson,
correct.
Okay, there we go. All right.
Yeah.
Surprisingly high number of total games played for the Raptors. Actually.
I feel like he's
in the top 10.
I feel like this is too late, but Morris Peterson.
Yeah, the same thing.
Mo Pete, he's not on the team.
Yeah, he's on the.
Should also say Amir Johnson had the plus minus high. No starter of this game had a positive plus minus. I'm sorry, there was a guy on the bench for the Raptors. Who I don't imagine you'll guess who had a plus 17, but Amir had a plus 14 on this game with only 6 points. What a god! What a stats god!
Just a stats monster.
You know what? I say lay it on us, Freddie. I don't know.
Okay.
Ben Wallace. Yes. So he was lead scorer for the Pistons.
Leading scorer Ben Wallace.
Yeah. I mean,
that's
I think
insane.
Bad game for them.
The Raptors lost to a team whose leading scorer was Ben Wallace.
Yeah, and Stuckey.
And Rodney Stuckey.
Here we go. Here are your Raptors, the starters. Andrea Bargnani, Jared Bayless.
Wow.
DeMar DeRozan.
Oh, DeMar. How do we not?
Amir Johnson, Sonny Weems.
Sonny.
Then coming off the bench, huge game from Leandro Barbosa.
I was gonna say Barbosa. I thought, man,
can't miss Linus Kleza.
What a shitty team.
Oh yeah, horrible team. And then the plus minus high on the game goes to Julian Wright.
Wright.
Yeah, plus 17 with 4 points.
Why not?
No 3, no D. Julian Wright.
Yeah, 4 steals. Let's go. And then Ed Davis and Joey Dorsey rounded it up.
Oh, Joey Dorsey.
That's the depths of Raptors. Yeah.
And it also says Peja Stojakovic not with team. So I don't know what that is. Yeah, he didn't travel for this.
This is a nice little primer, though, for the draft coming up, because I feel like there's a lot of guys in that game who didn't play 82 games for the Raptors.
And then, I'm going to take Julian Wright.
This Pistons team is pretty funky. So Ben Wallace, Tayshaun Prince, Rodney Stuckey. That's who we got. But Rip Hamilton.
Of course.
Jason Maxiell.
Oh, yeah.
And then you got Greg Monroe.
Oh, Greg.
Charlie Villanueva.
What?
Oh, hell yeah.
Ben Gordon.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was their big offseason signings that year was Ben Gordon
Tracy
and
Charlie
McGrady.
Tracy McGrady.
Tracy McGrady.
6 points off the bench.
I don't remember T-Mac playing for the
Me
Pistons.
either.
I wish Tracy McGrady was as good a scorer as Ben Wallace.
I know, right?
Yeah, he was there. He had a +10 on the game. He did the best job as a Piston.
Wow.
And then Will Bynum and Austin Day.
Wow.
Great.
So
Bynum and Day, good nice 70s duo. I have their couple of their records upstairs.
Yeah, Bynum and Day.
Bynum and Day,
Bynum and Day and the Sticklers. I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah, that's the band.
Yeah,
The
why not?
Stucklers.
The Stucklers. Yeah, so let's I guess
Stuckies.
before
I like that they said we were going to educate the masses, and we combined for 3 correct answers out of a possible 18.
Yeah, and like 2 of them were Pistons. Like we know more Pistons from this era than we do Raptors. What's wrong with us?
Folks, we're coming in with the sillies. We're coming in with the jokes. We may not be coming in with sufficient basketball knowledge.
Hey, that was a weird game, man. Come on.
It was
That's
a weird game. And it's also, you guys both went to like, what was I doing in my life? Which is, I think,
to be
probably
clear, I did not do that.
That's what I do to remember sports eras. Because I remember like watching games in specific places. So that's why.
Wow.
Yeah.
I really like your mind palace there.
That's it. That's what I call it.
But yeah, let's I know just talk a little bit about that game. Did either of you guys watch it live? Yeah, that
were
game.
You at it?
Yeah. Were you at the Pistons game?
Pistons Raptors.
The amazing Spurs Raptors game. I know me and Andy were doing a show, but I went home and watched it after. Were you watching it live, McCready?
Not live, but I watched it later on in the day. I had some commitments earlier in the day, but I had it taped. It was fantastic. I mean, it was terrible to watch for the first 3 quarters. It was really, really rough. As you would need to have for the best comeback in the history of the franchise.
Yeah. People don't say that about comebacks, is that they usually a big part of the game is that your team sucks for a long time.
Yeah, but I mean, like fucking Barnes, man, he went nuts. He went crazy. It was great.
Yeah, I think like obviously it's 7 games in, we're analyzing the team, but I think the obvious major story is Scottie Barnes looking like he's, I think, bulldozing past the idea of being an all-star and looking like he's like, I don't know, first team all NBA. It looks absolutely ridiculous.
He definitely bulldozed past Sohan when he threw down that dunk.
That dunk was nasty, right?
Yeah. I mean, so many
Yeah.
people have said, like, during Sohan's regular first season, it was like, oh, this guy's like Barnes, you know, he's just like a motor guy and stuff. But it's like that play in particular showed you like just how much bigger Barnes is than a guy like Sohan. Like, Barnes is a legit center-sized player.
Yeah. I mean, I've been saying this for a long time, and I think, you know, you don't want to pigeonhole a player into a position, but he does sort of have like a lot of things about a lot of characteristics that allow him to thrive at the center position. He doesn't seem to be, I mean, I don't have a lot of memories of guys other than, I don't know, Embiid, like kind of like being able to bully him.
Yeah.
Like his strength is just really, really intense. And to me, like, you know, obviously the offense is out of control. The threes are insane, but the defense is really, I don't know. He's sort of like, it's ridiculous. His numbers are getting compared to all sorts of people, but I just saw like a matchup of him and Jokic year 3. And again, year 3, 7 games. But it's like he's sort of like Jokic year 3, but with all NBA defense, which is like, I don't know, best player in the world.
This is such classic Toronto Raptor fan discussion too.
Yeah.
It was like,
Getting
are
too
guys
excited.
having a hot start to the season? Is he the best player ever? But also, are we? Should we blow everything up? And is this franchise a complete ruin? You know what I mean? Like, I love it very much. That's been the discourse over the last like 2 weeks. But legit, Scottie has been on fire, man. He's crazy good. However, I'm gonna tell you, I think those end of season accolades, I mean, it's like the Toronto Raptors, like when like they give us rookie of the year once in a while, when you know what I mean. I feel like we get passed over for a lot of that stuff for players who just play in markets that make more noise. Do you think that's a factor at all?
It's hard to say because like there's a very kind of like Siakam and Randall have put up pretty similar stats, and both of them kind of get the same amount of all NBA love. And you know, New York's obviously a huge market, so I don't know. I there could be some truth to that, but I do feel like Toronto had played such a funky style the last few years that guys like Zach Lowe and like these big influential podcasters were really upping Toronto the last few years. So I feel like in the last few years we've gotten some love, but I think historically, yeah, there is truth to that.
I think that's really fair. And I think, you know, if you look at some of the defenders we've had and how few, like, I don't think we had an all defensive player, if I'm not mistaken, until Kawhi got all defense.
Oh, really? Wow.
So, you know, I think that says a lot that like that it's probably not fair.
OG not being first team all defense is definitely a notch in that we don't get respect.
Yeah, or even like, you know, second team all defense in years prior when the Raptors, you know, I think to me, like almost the worst version of this was when the Raptors championship team was so amazing on D, and the kind of like the big talking points were like, but they're all too good. We can't give anyone an award, which I was sort of like, that's so dumb. That's pretty silly. Yeah. But
it was such a good team collective defense, though. There is some merit to that argument.
For sure.
You know?
For sure. But yeah, like do you have a favorite Scottie Barnes play from that game, Andy? Other, you know, I think the dunk on Sohan's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, my favorite Scottie play was him getting blocked from behind by Wembanyama because cool. Here's why though. Here's why, because I think
my favorite OG play was him falling down.
Yeah, no.
Times. So I agree.
Why. Because I think it's good
finding his contacts.
I think it's important for like guys who are like the guy on their team to go up against the other guy on the other team, and even though you're like having a great game, like that, just you could tell he wasn't fazed by it. You know what I mean? And I think that a lot of players would be like, oh shit, like what just happened to me? You know what I mean? Especially in a game where you're fighting, you're putting all your effort in coming back, and he's like at this point, Scottie that was like in the fourth quarter. So like the Raptors were back in it by this point, right? So like I think it was a real turning point, and I think it fired him up. So I liked even more so, and I liked when that happened, and I like to see guys' response to plays like that. And one of the more encouraging things about Scottie as we see him grow as a player is like seeing his response to big plays like that happen against him. And he's got poise, and he's still 20 whatever, you know what I mean? He's 22. Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say 23, but he's like 22. But like that's important to have, especially if you're gonna be the guy that we all think he can be and or should be. And so I think I actually, you know, classic flip it around on you and say something else you weren't expecting. There you go. Bam.
Hey, I love it. Your favorite play is when he got blocked because you know it inspired him.
Because I liked his response, and he didn't at all stop at all. He just came back fired up even more.
I mean, the dunk on Sohan was badass, obviously, but I think like maybe even more impressive was the rebound that led to the dunk. Like he soared from the opposite side of the court and got in front of Sohan, who's like, you know, known for hustle plays, just got over him and then pounded him into the basket. But like that rebound was absurd. That was like Kenneth Faried type of rebounding from a guy who's also got the incredible playmaking load that he has for the team. It's outrageous.
Yeah, that's a good point. And you know, I was talking to my little brother Thomas, big Raptors fan, been on the pod before.
Incredibly skilled pickup basketball player.
He is very, very skilled.
Terrible defender. Terrible defender. One of the worst defenders I've ever seen.
He doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want to do it.
Fair enough.
But yeah, he was saying before the game, one thing that he was looking for, and I think it really sort of played out in our favor. Like I don't know the amount of strategy that went into this, but you know, early in Wembanyama's career, I think for valid and obvious reasons, they aren't just throwing him in the center position so he can get like bruised and beat up. They're putting him on the wing, and he's like overwhelming guys. Like, you know, in his 38 points, he went off on Eric Gordon. Like you can't guard Wembanyama with Eric Gordon. Like he's just gonna just ruin these wings, right?
I don't think you can guard Malachi with Eric Gordon at this point.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe this might be a Phoenix thing, but this is a Phoenix issue. It's an Arizona thing, but I think by having Barnes and OG, play him out there, they were able to use their speed and strength to sort of work him throughout the game. And OG was just so incredible. But I think we do got to focus on Scottie here. And to me, that the game tying play or plays, the fact that it was on Wembanyama, so Scottie had built up the respect, right, of being able to hit that three throughout the game. So when he pump faked on the first three and Wembanyama jumped on him, he so easily blew past him for the dunk. And then the next play, Wembanyama was sort of like not on skates, but kind of unsure of what Scottie's going to do. And he was able to do the step back three, which, this is to me kind of like just this is what fans are going so wild about, because I've said it many times on the pod, but what is limiting about Scottie and building a team around Scottie and building an offense, is the fact that he's not supposed to be a good shooter, and he's shooting 42% from three on the season, which absolutely I'm sure will settle to a certain point, but he's already shown that it's that he's confident and he can shoot threes in big moments, and that absolutely changes the franchise trajectory and his trajectory as a player.
Yeah, I've heard people talk about his shooting form and how it varies a bit, even this season. But it does look a lot better than it did the year before. And even though there is a bit of variation, if you look at that step back that he did, it was like a side step as well. And he was so centered towards the net. It was a very one of the biggest problems with Scottie was that his handle was loose and his footwork was hit or miss. But his footwork has been amazing this year. He's really taken some steps there, and his handle looks a lot better. His turnovers are usually from these audacious passes, which are always kind of a good foreteller for success later on. Anyways, you want your players to make mistakes. So
of course. He can. I think anyone that's been watching Scottie knows that he can make the brilliant play. And it's sort of like the boring kind of
too hottie.
The boring kind of easy, non-flashy passes, which allow you to really, really rack up assists. But what I wanted to sort of just get the temperature on with you guys is again, it's so early. We're messing around here. We're excited about Scottie, but if you had to guess, Matt, I'll start with you. Where do you see Scottie ending up this year as far as awards? Is this, just where is he going to settle, and what do you expect him to achieve this year?
Yeah, all NBA is always a weird one because Randall and Siakam, they'll usually reward a team that gets 48 wins with some sort of all NBA spot. Mm-hmm. It typically happens. So I feel like all NBA is very contingent on how the Raptors do as a team. I mean, if Scottie continues this production, he's going to make it regardless, really. Shea made it all NBA first team on a team that I think was either 500 or a game below 500. So it can be done. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like right now, if there was one I was going to bet on, I'd probably bet on OG winning Defensive Player of the Year. That last game against Victor was one of the most viewed games in the league. The fact that he might be a free agent this offseason or traded or whatever might up his profile in the league a little bit and give him a little bit more attention. In terms of who deserves to get what, I would say I wouldn't be surprised if Scottie deserves to get an all NBA slot.
Grady Dick, sixth man.
Well, he's got to start hitting shots.
Let's go.
I'm actually loving Grady so far. I was just looking at his 3-point percentage, and I was shocked to see that it was 28%. But I still think he's looking fine.
Yeah, he's figuring it out.
I think that for me, the thing that I feel like it's like, okay, put some money on Scottie winning award. I'm going to say most improved, because I think,
that's a better choice.
That's the narrative. That's the narrative. He's like already in that narrative camp. Similar to like what you're saying with OG, he's already kind of in that narrative territory of like, people think he was all defense last year, second team, and people think about him as a defender. And he just had that, like, that Victor game. He's going to be guarding Luka. If he does an okay job on Luka next game, then all of a sudden people are going to be like, oh, gee, is that guy on D? But I think that Scottie is going to have to really regress a ton throughout the season to get bumped out of that territory. And all like you said, all NBA, even all-star, those things are really contingent on a lot of, position comes into play. You mentioned Shea, right? Is Shea first team if they do it like the WNBA is doing it, where it's like positions don't matter, right? Because Jokic is on that first team, so he's replacing somebody. I'm not saying it's Shea, but I think that that's sort of a, there's a lot of factors that go into those end of season awards.
Isn't that the whole reason why they have the first, second, third team, is because it's like, Jokic is the center or whatever. So when there's another good one, we got to have, even though like positions are a little more fluid than they used to be in the NBA, obviously, like maybe, I guess you could make an argument that like that doesn't really matter, but isn't that the whole point of the multiple team thing? So we can award specific positions several times.
I think it was at some point, but I think because of this is just my personal, I hope the NBA follows the path of the W, as far as just sort of being like, hey, we should put the best 15, it really affects contracts and
just
stuff.
Straight up top 15 players.
Yeah, that's what I would like. And then,
but we're making lineups here. We're making teams. See, they have to play each other at the end of the year. Remember in the secret game?
The secret game.
You're forgetting about the secret game.
I'm forgetting about the secret game.
They should do that though, and it's the secret all-star game, and no one gets to watch it.
Just one reporter who then tells about how amazing it was.
Yeah, it's like that Olympic gym game. Although there is footage of that actually.
Yeah, Jamal Mashburn's greatest moment.
I also love in that game who's the person was it? It was like, oh, Magic and MJ were really going at it, and then there's always like this like footnote that's like, yeah, Larry Bird didn't really want to play. Like it was like Larry Bird was also there, and he's like, I'm actually having a cig. So,
well, I mean, Larry Bird's back was like late period Roger Ebert at that point. Like it was just like all dashed, Like he was like, he's a very old man.
It was post driveway.
Post driveway. Yeah.
But I think we also have to talk about Pascal Siakam. Again, it's almost like there's like a Freaky Friday thing here. Like it's like opposite Scottie. And if the Raptors had lost that game, I think the noise would be even bigger, but it's big enough. And Andy's right up here is, better than my question. What are we doing? But I think more specifically, our personal opinions aside, what do and we've talked about this before, Matt, but like, what do we think is going to happen with Pascal Siakam? Like, in the same that we're predicting, like, okay, well, Scottie's going to just like go up and up and up and up. Are we thinking that this is like the new version of Siakam? He's not worth the max contract. He's not going to get any money. Like it's, I was sorry, this is a meandering question, but I was just looking at his shot attempts are basically the same as when he was on the bench mob. So he's shooting less than 14 shots a game. And, I don't know. At some point, does his agent say you can't play anymore because you're about to miss out on $100 million? Like, anyways, this is very reactionary. But where are you at with Pascal Siakam?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I guess in retrospect, they probably should have dealt Pascal when he was coming off of that amazing December last year where he was scoring like 51 points against the Knicks and the team was falling apart. And there's a lot of trade rumors. I don't know if he'll ever reach that value again. I'm almost certain he won't, especially seeing he had 2 years left on his contract at that point. It's interesting. Like, he had developed such chemistry with Fred over the course of, however many years, maybe even going back to that 2010 Pistons game, just hanging out as children. But like he had such chemistry with Fred that, like, I think once Fred left, like I would get really annoyed with the Raptors last year because it did seem like sometimes they were playing a 2-man game while three other people were kind of just standing around watching them, and you're just gonna get a lot of stats when you're like in that position to succeed. The Raptors had a terrible half-court offense last year. It wasn't necessarily wasn't their fault necessarily, but it's not like they helped it get to a point where it was even passable. So I don't know. It's like it's hard to say where Pascal is. He's 30 years old. A lot of his spin moves and stuff like that were reliant on, incredible side-to-side athleticism, which can wane as you get a little bit older. He had a groin injury, I think, a while back, which I think maybe sapped a little bit. So maybe it is just an injury-based thing. I think the fact that the organization for the very first time has basically told him, we don't care as much about you, probably doesn't motivate him to get out there and do more. Or at least not even motivate, but just like probably doesn't fill him with the confidence that maybe he would have, or the joy of playing, which can really, for Pascal specifically, inspire him to do better. His defense has been quite good. He'll always be like a good defensive player. Some of that kind of stuff I think is overlooked by certain Raptor players because it's just been such a constant for so long. It's not like we have Danilo Gallinari out there just getting blown by all the time. He's a really good defensive player. But yeah, anyway, I guess that's all I gotta say about it.
I like it's easy to look at what Pascal's doing now and kind of forget that like we're working under a new system and we're really seeing a real changing of the guard here. I mean, we don't forget that, but like we know that that's happening. But like that often means like just a role shift for these guys who everyone was like, this is our guy, like he's the best player left over from our championship squad, and now it's like, oh, never mind, it's Scottie. Like, never mind, we're doing something kind of different than I guess you thought, and like trying to like guess how that player feels about it, right? And there's like you see it a lot in the NBA because there's such an individual impact, but like we always assume that a player is upset or they're mad at not being the guy or whatever. But like, is there any part where you guys think like Pascal is okay with being like, okay, I am going to be okay with playing in a system that might not benefit me the way the old one did, as well as supporting being the number 2 guy to somebody like Scottie? Like, that's kind of, I'm not sure that I don't know if that's exactly what's happening. I'm just like, what if it's that though, instead of like, I'm mad, I'm not the guy, and I'm not feeling well, and I'm depressed.
Well,
because I've heard that a lot. Fair. Like, to be fair, that is a fair take. I think it's
well, I mean, I think Matt, in a conversation we were having last year, I think you sort of described Pascal and Scottie really well, which is Scottie is, he gives off like just like tons of alpha energy, right? He's like, oh, this is Wembanyama's night. No, it's my night. And I think we've all been waiting and expecting for this moment to happen. And for a lot of people, myself included, it's sooner than I thought, where he's sort of like, it doesn't matter who's on this team. It's my team. Right. And I've said it before in this podcast, but like earlier, in the preseason, he was basically like, I was really happy with how, I said this to you the other day, Andy, but like, I was really happy with the veterans. Like, they showed up with a better energy this year, which is like, wow. Could you imagine a 22-year-old being like, well done, guys? Like, you know what I mean? To just be like, you're 22, dude. But he is that guy. And then you also described, Matt, Pascal as a model citizen. And I think that is a really good description of Pascal. And I think where there's this fan intersection and there's this like unknown of a player and his makeup is kind of like, we expect Pascal to, like, I made that allusion to him saying like his agent being like, you're about to lose all this money. We got to pull the plug. You can't be a role player. You can't just like hang it on the 3 and be like a decoy. Like, that's like, you scored 24 points a game last year. This is a problem. And then, where we don't know the truth is maybe Pascal's like, no, it's not a problem. It's a new challenge. I play with Scottie every day. He's great. The best time of my career was being the Robin to Kawhi's Batman. This is just a challenge for me. I can do this. And then again, I think what also complicates the whole scenario is the handling of Pascal. The franchise, I don't know, not embracing, his not speaking overtly like, high about him heading into this year. And then not giving him a max, which I think would help them even trade him down the line if they wanted to, right? Like you talked about his value earlier, like that's bad, right? That he's like sort of on this expiring.
It was really strange that they didn't give him the extension.
Yeah, like it would have been.
That was like the biggest problem with a lot of teams wanting to trade for Pascal is that they thought that he was going to leave.
Yeah,
so
and you,
like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, I'm stealing this from Blake Murphy on the Blake Murphy and Sportsnet show with Will Liu and Alex Wong, but he was sort of insinuating yesterday that if we had signed Pascal, we would actually I think be able to trade him, if we signed him in the summer, we might be able to trade him as soon as this deadline. So,
I believe they would have been able to trade him in December.
Right. Yeah. So I think that really kind of clouds this whole situation. And I'll just say, like, as far as like what I think is going to happen, I think I could go a lot of ways, but to me, it's, just going off the history of this front office. I think for better or for worse, they are going to not let the Fred situation influence them, and they're going to play this thing out till the summer. And
that's dangerous, man.
Oh,
it's to have him and OG going into unrestricted free agency when both Orlando and Philly have max cap space to sign pretty much both of them if they wanted to.
Totally.
That's wild.
Well, it's funny. Every time people are like, this franchise has no direction, I'm like, what do you mean? The direction is stubborn. It's always been that. Messiah is like, listen, you have to trust what people say. And from the very beginning, Messiah has always been like, I plan on winning, and I'm very, very stubborn about that. So I think whether it's Scottie's team or not, I feel like he is a gambler in that sense, right? So I don't really expect him to turn into a different person overnight. But yeah, so I think they're going to ride Siakam out. I think he will play a lot better than he's played now.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, yeah. What about you, Andy? Do you have a kind of like a prediction of where you think this early kind of Scottie's team Siakam is going to end up?
I listened to the same the Raptor show, same as you. I heard them say that too, and I was like, that's very interesting. Talking about how extending. Giving him the extension, and then that allows you to trade him. It's a weird thing of like, are they doing something like reverse psychology here for you know what I mean? Like, what are they like? What's happening with this? It's like we want him to stay, but we don't want him. We won't let him know we want him to stay, or we want him to go, but we're not going to indicate that we're going to get rid of him. It's like, are they like playing these like 10-level mind games with us? Or is it just a completely bizarre way to handle this situation? And I think that's got to be the answer, because everybody is like confused. You know what I mean? It seems like people who know way more about NBA contracts and how GMs, and presidents interact with each other seem equally as confused as me, and that's encouraging to me as a sports fan.
That is confusing. I was wondering as like how like people say like people like Steve Clifford, they're like a defensive coach, and like Todd Thibodeau, that they have like specific types of systems where they really can crush. Do you think Masai is like a system GM, and that he's really able to excel in certain situations, but seems to struggle in situations like when he's not, where he doesn't have a lot of leverage? Because it doesn't seem like when he doesn't have leverage, it seems like he basically doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Sometimes doing nothing.
Yeah. No. Keep going.
Like Lowry, when he didn't trade Lowry at the trade deadline and could have risked losing him for absolutely nothing. We ended up getting Precious. We maybe it seemed like we could have gotten Tyrese Maxey, which would have been pretty fun.
Yeah, that was one of the rumors.
based on what Grange was saying at the time, that the deal was basically done. Even this last trade deadline, they were like, oh man, we were really screwed by Kevin Durant becoming available at the trade deadline and ruined our thing we could have done with Phoenix. It's like, well, you could have done the thing with Phoenix for months. Like it didn't have to happen on the second last day before the trade deadline. You just kind of didn't do anything. So it's just interesting to see if he's able to, like, as a GM, you have to be able to be the best GM like we all imagine Masai can be. You have to be able to excel in a ton of different situations. I just don't know if he's shown the ability to do so at this point.
Yeah, it's like, okay, Matt, you'll get this. I don't know if literally anyone else listening or Freddie will understand.
Oh, it's going to be wrestling related.
No, it's going to be even more, something more niche and nerdy.
Oh, it's about the Black Swan bar.
No, it's okay. It's like when you're playing Marvel Snap and you have so many different plays you can make, and the little timer's running out, and you're like, I don't know, and then you either just like it either runs out on you, and you're like, or you do something, and you're like, that was the wrong move.
Yeah,
like, that happens to me a lot, and I feel like it's
I'm starting a ticker on Marvel Snap references.
Yeah,
that's
Matt and I are in a Marvel Snap chat with a couple other friends of ours. Anyways,
it's really cool and it's exclusive. You're not allowed in.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm all right.
It's really great. But yeah,
it's the number one mobile game in the world. It's not
exactly one game a year.
Hey,
Get out of here,
I play
Freddie.
Boom Beach, so no worries.
What the? But yeah, no, it's like this pressure cooker, and it's like, but like, just exactly what you're saying, Matt. It's like, yeah, but it's only a pressure cooker in the last, like the last possible seconds. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, there's not, like, yeah, there's a lot of more options that you're passing by just by kind of sitting idly. And I
do think that sitting on that for so long and then being like, we're gonna trade for Pirtle. Exactly terrible snap. The Spurs are right over here. Let's talk to them. Hey, Jakob, join the team.
Yeah, exactly.
It's insane. But
yeah, I think we'll definitely have a lot of time to go over the what exactly the plan is or isn't, or how much like missed opportunity there has been, because I think the OG and Pascal contracts are like, they have to be the biggest sort of representation of all of this, and the biggest sort of like, I would say, like unnecessary risk, when you think about like the age of the players and all that kind of stuff. But let's move on and talk some NBA now, because I think, it's a lot of fun shit there going too. A lot of fun shit going on there too.
Nice one.
Right?
Episode 300, crushing it.
Woo! So this question is, what is, and I'll start with you, Matt, there's 4 teams that have lost 1 game. Mm-hmm. Out of those 4 teams, who's looking the best? Who do you think is the best? Those teams are Boston, Philly, Dallas, Denver.
Yeah, I mean, you have to go Denver, right? Denver just won the championship, and they have the best 2-man combination in the league. I was listening to, I think it was like Hollinger and Duncan or something, and they were talking about like who are the best 2-man units in the entire league. Preseason, they were saying this, and they went with, I think one of them went with Giannis and Lillard as like the number 1 duo in the league, despite having not seen them play at all at that point. Yeah. And I think you should just go with the team, the team that crushed everyone on the way to the finals. Like, to me, that seems kind of obvious. I mean, Boston does look fantastic. I mean, all 4 of the teams look fantastic, obviously. I put Dallas 4th. But I would definitely have Denver number 1, just because I don't think there's an answer to Jokic. And when you have the greatest player in the league, and you have a decent supporting cast, if not very good supporting cast, I'm going to give it to that team.
Yeah, Andy.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think it's like the obvious answer is of course Denver. They're the champions until you kind of prove otherwise. They're the best team, period, let alone of whatever the records are. But to add a little something else, I get Philly seems to me the most interesting of the teams that are off to a great start. Obviously the Harden trade being such a huge like weight off of their shoulders, it feels like. And even though and honestly, I don't know, I can't speak for anybody on the 76ers, but like watching Harden go play his first game and lose has got to be like, aha,
they were like 5 years. There's probably 5 fan bases that were doing that
Yes,
at that
totally.
game. I think that was the biggest Nick fan base probably in the history of the franchise.
Absolutely.
If we ever do the we're doing a draft later in the episode, but if we ever do like a point and laugh at a player draft, I do think that James Harden is going to be the number 1 overall pick because there's something about that guy that makes people want to point and laugh more than honestly any player I can remember.
It's funny because well, whatever. But I won't get too deep on Harden as a guy or as a player, but like he's also kind of fun to watch. You know what I mean? Like it's that love-hate relationship, right?
I love him.
That's the thing about him. That's why he stands out. But yeah, I think Philly being able to like, I mean, maybe finally get where they want to be, and is this the makeup of the of the championship or at least finals bound 76ers? Like, yeah, maybe we'll see, but I think they're the most at least like interesting team to watch. And I mean, Nick Nurse.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's early season takes, and I think that.
And did you just allude that Nick Nurse had died?
Rest in peace, Nick Nurse.
Yeah, Nick Nurse is absolutely fine. No Nick
Bless up.
Nurses were harmed in the making of this podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Denver's the answer. I think the Jokic. Obviously Embiid won MVP last year, but I think the Jokic is unstoppable take is correct. And I think until we see people bother him or slow his game down, even I think Murray is injured. It's not a serious injury, but I think he will miss some time. So we'll see how Denver adjusts to that. But I think regardless, we're going to want to see them knock down a peg before we really believe in other teams. I do think Boston looks incredible.
Yeah.
Their only loss coming last night against Minnesota in OT with an Anthony Edwards just being like out of control. And by the way, a nasty defensive Rudy Gobert. But
I will say one thing about Boston, because I watched that game, is that Horford's looking a little creaky, out there.
I mean, he should be.
Yeah,
right?
he's one of the oldest players in the league. Yeah.
Yeah, like I think like there's a transition old players do where they're like, that sly, smart bastard, to then all of a sudden being like, oh, you do have a tough time running up and down the court.
Yeah. And I mean, I think sometimes people view older players like they do in like NBA 2K, where like their aging comes in the happens in the off season, and they show up as that player throughout the entire season. Whereas like now he has to go through 82 games and then a playoff run. Like he'll probably break down more throughout the season as well. Anywho, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm sure I have to like really like I think it was it Grant Hill? I think it was Grant Hill.
Was it Grant Hill who did that the very first season he ever played?
Yeah, it was Grant Hill. First year he did that. Poor guy. Great career. But no, he talked about having to like the thing about aging for him was he had to work out so much more to be at like a playing shape that, like the same playing shape when he was younger. And I think, a guy like Al Horford has been around in the league long enough that like you would assume that's what he's doing, but at a certain time that runs out, right? But yeah, the other thing I think you guys kind of nailed it with 76ers, but I haven't watched any Dallas games yet. Although I'm really interested, not so much in the weird Kyrie-ness, because I'm sure there will be some Kyrie bullshit this year, but I think that in the same way that we were talking about Jokic, I do think that Luka we're seeing more and more of that like Luka magic, and kind of like this we're about to see the Raptors fans are about to see him, but we're seeing more of him becoming, absolutely unstoppable. And I'm curious how that pans out, like how that progresses throughout the year. I think if you look at the Dallas roster compared to, particularly the Denver and the Boston rosters, they're not as good, but maybe Luka's just getting better and better.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. When is Kyrie Irving going to get bored and not doing something insane? This is pretty much where I am with Dallas. Like, I just don't. Don't buy him.
Yeah. Plus, Jason Kidd, he'll do something insane too.
Yeah, you can't put those two guys together. Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
And
okay.
Well, I guess they have the steadying influence of the biggest crybaby in the entire league to keep them centered. And yeah,
Is that Luka?
that is Luka. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't use the word crybaby. It sounds very like call-in radio very often. But after that World Cup performance against Canada, biggest crybaby in the league.
Okay. Yeah, I mean him leaving, getting kicked out of the game because he was losing is definitely crybaby vibes. Hey, we're not doing the crybaby draft, but I would throw Embiid in that mix for sure. That
He's
guy
literally
complains.
Crying after he lost.
Well, I mean, sorry, the tears. Yeah. I actually respect the tears. To me, it's sort of the mixture of being really recklessly violent and complaining constantly is a unique mix of a player, and then also being incredible. It's a lot going on with that guy.
Yeah. At least Grant Williams didn't die when he got his head stomped by Embiid jumping around.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. Yeah, that guy's there's a big Embiid graveyard. Which includes the people he's bullied. Okay. Embiid is amazing though.
From grade school. Yeah.
I do enjoy watching him play a lot. I like that he makes people mad. Okay. The last sort of NBA question here, Matt.
Yes.
What's the biggest surprise of the season for you so far? Again, we're 7-8 games in. It could be a team, player, whatever.
Oh, do you want to pass to Andy first so I can think about this question? That's one I didn't prepare. Great.
Yeah, all good.
Surprise. You didn't have this one ready.
Surprise.
I have an answer loaded too if it's a surprise for you.
Do you say just NBA, all NBA wide?
Just anything that's happened so far that to you is
I thought this was
the most single surprising thing.
I thought this was a Raptor-centric question, but I think it still kind of applies. It's Dennis Schroeder being able to carry over from the World Cup into the regular season. Obviously he's not
that's a surprise.
He's not like MVP the same way he was in the tournament, but like he's showing up in a way that I don't think many people really expected him to. Like his shooting's improved. All of a sudden, he's a threat. From out there, and he's like really thriving. I think in the system, and he's being asked to do a lot more, and I think he's stepping up, and it's looking great. I again, not like we're not talking about he's gonna, he's not making all NBA perhaps, but like I've been pleasantly surprised with how he's looked, and I think that's exactly what we needed to like stay afloat. As a viable point guard, and he's I think he's shown to be that.
I mean, yeah, and his 3-point percentage, he's shooting like 43% from three.
Yeah,
blistering, which is obviously going to come down. But
the Raptors being below 500 with both Barnes and Schroeder shooting over 42% from the 3-point line is concerning.
Yeah, I know it's wild. And then you have a Grady who I think will get better, I guess.
Yeah. I'm sure there's other guys who are low.
Who will balance it out. I know, but like it's basically those two which are like, what the hell? And then OG is like, okay, fair enough.
At this point, though, the under 500 like label is a little bit like kind of, it's one game, it's still very early.
You're right.
That Chicago game was crazy and weird, all that kind of stuff. I like at this point in the season, I think we can still say that stuff, but yeah, it's true.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the Chicago game gives me a lot of hope that the Raptors will be good this year for sure.
To me, the Philly losses are sort of like almost like make the most sense to me as a game so far, because I was like, okay, this team seems like this is like we're outclassed. Because you look at the Milwaukee game and you're like, what the hell? Milwaukee just maybe wasn't ready. The Chicago game was a mess. Portland game was like, okay, well, I think they'll get worse and we'll get better. But anyways, yeah, so early. I just want to touch on your Schroeder point though, because I think that it is really interesting to see that carryover. You don't see that a lot. You think about like Daniel Tice is not playing. Evan Fournier is not playing. These are guys that are like major, or like pretty big factors on their team. Oh God, I'm having a brain fart here. Gilgeous Alexander's cousin.
Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
Yeah, barely playing, barely having an effect on the game at all. And was huge.
But Dylan Brooks though. Dylan Brooks, that's a
carryover. Yeah. Kelly Olynyk actually is like, I have him in fantasy. He's doing good. So okay, I'm just gonna go with mine since I brought up the fantasy thing. And I understand that he went off at the end of last year, but I think, Brooklyn to me is like a weird sort of like, obviously they don't have their picks, so they're going to try and be good, but they're a weird mess. And I don't expect them to be a good team this year. However, with all the Bridges conversation, no one, did the proper justice to Cam Thomas being the best scorer in the NBA now. It's so early, but this guy is just an absolute insane bucket. And this is a very fantasy driven surprise, but I picked him up off waivers in 2 leagues. So I think that, again, we will see what happens, but he's on a heater that is fairly absurd.
Yeah, Freddie, I'm a huge draft guy. And the thing about Cam Thomas that caused him to slide so much in the draft and why he was picked late 20s was that he had, and it might be a little hyperbolic here, but he had the worst assist percentage out of any guard in the history of the draft. He basically never passed. An amazing collegiate scorer, but never passed. And teams were worried that if the scoring doesn't even translate a little bit, he's going to be an absolute bust. But it looks like it has. So there you go.
I mean, I'm just looking now. Is he one of those guys? Has he started? 2.4 assists. So,
hey, that's 4 Garys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he's 20. Yeah, 20. If you're, it seems correct. He's averaging almost 29 points a game on and 2.5 assists. So this guy does not enjoy passing whatsoever.
No. It's pretty easy to get two assists a game when you have 29 points per game. Are passing out of a double team and
there's only 5 players on a team. Anyone can get 2. You gotta give it to somebody sometimes.
Yeah, this is a guy who does not. Yeah, he doesn't enjoy passing at all. But he is absolutely on fire.
I thought of a surprise. Okay. Maybe it's a surprise to some, but teams in the NBA that are built around old stars, they tend to be struggling a little bit, just based on the athleticism of the younger generation coming in. Milwaukee, I watched the Knicks Clippers game yesterday, and
they beat the crap out of them, right?
It was really close for a half, and then they just kind of out hustled them a little bit down the stretch. The Lakers, even though LeBron and AD are playing so many minutes, and they're still struggling. It's just been kind of interesting to see that maybe the new guard is coming in. You can make the counterpoint that Golden State looks pretty good, but if there's any time of the year that the older teams should be crushing, it's at the beginning of the year when they're healthy and they haven't gone through the schedule yet. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's a great point. Okay, I think that about wraps up the regular questions, and we're going to get into a very silly draft. For anyone that's listening, we really want you to know. We really want to know who you think has the best team. However, you decide what that best is. Andy, do you want to describe the draft?
Yeah.
Should I go for it?
No, this is great. I got you covered. So this is the 300th episode of Confederacy Dunks, and what would we be doing here if we didn't celebrate it with a draft? And we wouldn't be Toronto Raptor fans without celebrating the people who have played less than a full season for us. Yeah. And just purely by numbers, just by 82 games, they may have played multiple seasons, but that's the pool that we're drafting from here. Is we're picking the absolute best Toronto Raptors players who have played less than 82 games for the franchise as a whole. Now we're not just drafting. Also, there's a little twist here. We're not just going to be drafting your classic, positions on the court. We've got some different categories here that we're grabbing from. And those categories are as follows. We are drafting, first of all, we got shooter. You can also kind of sub this in as score, just pure scoring, but I like shooting as our main category there. Next, we've got dunker, you want a guy who's going to go hard to the rim. Big man also kind of.
Or a guy that's only dunked once in his career.
Could be that as well. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Dunker meaning singular dunk.
The way you said dunk. A guy's only dunk.
Singular dunk. We got our defensive specialist. You're going to be drafting a defensive specialist in this draft. We're also going to be drafting a player who represents the heart of the team. You want this guy's going to be judged on heart. And then we got a wild card, because you always got to have a wild card in the draft, and that can be whatever you want it to be. Just to make things clear for the people listening, at any given slot, we can pick whatever it is we want. If Freddie wants to take his shooter first, he can do that. And then the next player can choose their wild card first if they want for some reason, right? So that's how that's going to go. We'll post these on socials. We want you guys to vote and tell us who has the best team, and the criteria for that is whatever you want it to be and whoever makes the best case for their team. So let's get into it. First and foremost,
can I make two clarifying points?
Yes, please do.
It's
any
like
questions?
80, so it's 82 games or less. So if they have played 82 exactly,
82 is eligible. Yes, you are.
And I do want to shout out the guy who I would have picked from a heart of my team for sure, Muggsy Bogues, 83 games.
Yes, I know. Muggsy 83 is so disappointing for this. Yeah,
you ain't reading,
but you got to cut it off somewhere.
Yeah.
Right.
And then obviously all these players are in their primes.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's right. That's a good point.
Which I think also will be fun, because I assume for anyone that's played less than 82 game for the Raptors, none of those primes will have been with the Raptors.
Yeah, your prime was not with the Raptors.
Yeah,
most certainly.
I would argue that Jorge Garbajosa's prime was during his season with the Raps.
Okay,
you know what? That's actually true.
Listen,
the garbage man.
I did not see Garbo in there, and
you gotta do some amending of your rankings here. What's going on?
Okay, just factoring that out.
Garbo was high on my list, and I made a mistake by bringing him up early, but
you did.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can't tip your picks here. Okay, so I've got random.org open. I've put our names in for the random decision of who's going to be drafting first in this draft. And I mean, you guys can't see it, but I swear I'm not cheating. Here we go. Andy, Matt, Freddie are in there, and randomize. And I'm not making this up. I did get first pick. I swear to God. No, this is also going to be snake draft. So 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, that sort of thing, right?
Great.
It's Andy, Freddie, and Matt. And again, I really did not cheat. I swear. Okay, so
wait, let's just say that Matt, me and Andy did meet before, and we put you last on purpose.
Yeah, sorry, we did do that.
That's the way you treat a guest here, man. Ever since Matt Duncan left, it's been a fucking tire fire. Confederacy of dunks.
Get Matt back.
We blew the cover by going to a website called random.org.
Listen, if you're trying to get a random anything,
random.org.
You better be
not
at
a real site.
random.org. Oh my God, that just shows how little you know about the randomization community, Freddie. You just outed yourself, dude.
Yeah, listen, Marvel, that's a tick for you. Marvel Snap and
the randomization community. Yeah,
me and Andy are in a randomization community group chat, and let me tell you, it's fucking fun fire.
It's dude. Okay. It's lit in there.
Maybe I want in on that one.
All right.
Okay, now just hold on 1 second while I bring up my personal draft rankings, because I do need to have them up here. Although for this first pick, it's quite easy. There's no two ways about who this choice is. He played, is it 60 games?
Yeah.
Let me get myself together here. Yeah, 60 games. It's arguably the best player of all time. He's actually spent any time with the team. We're going to take Kawhi Leonard as our first overall pick here. But where to put him? See, this is why at first we considered maybe take Kawhi out of this draft because it's kind of lopsided. But
wild card.
There's a lot of great players in this draft.
Put him wild card.
I'm going to take Kawhi as my defensive specialist, as my all defense man. And I think that makes sense. He could slot into a couple other positions here, but yeah, we're going to take him at defense. Kawhi, number 1 overall. We're happy to do it.
Okay, I think this second pick is very easy for me as well. I am going to go with the defensive player as well, and that's going to be Hakeem Olajuwon.
Oh yeah, Hakeem was my number 1 pick for sure. Yeah, Hakeem's like
he's the one top 10 guy that's ever played.
Listen, this is a Hall of Fame player, and Kawhi will be that as well. Don't worry about it.
Well, let me tell you guys, it drops off pretty severely after these top 2
sure does.
All right.
I think there's honestly, but you get the 2 picks here, right? So you get a nice 1-2 punch.
That's true. For my dunker, I'm gonna go with a guy who most people forget even played for the Raptors. I'm gonna go with Sean Marion.
Wow.
Huge.
Wow.
And then,
love it.
I love me some Matrix.
Sticking with my very small amount of games for the Raptors here. Forget that he plays for the team. But number 4, I'm going to take my shooter, Peja Stojakovic.
Oh, yes,
amazing.
Of course.
Amazing.
You got to, man. See, this is the thing. I actually, when there's a draft like this where there's like a number 1 that like, I mean, I guess you could argue Hakeem number 1, but like I think Kawhi is probably most people's number 1 here. But like, I kind of want the 3rd pick here, where you get to take these 2 really strong guys, because you're making an overall team here. It's not based on one guy, you know. So I love those picks.
Okay, here we go.
Considering Jorge Garbajosa might be next on my team, I don't know. I still think I like Hakeem Olajuwon.
There's some other guys. Come on, you're...
My team, no shooting allowed. No. And I'm gonna go with my next pick. Is gonna be my dunker, and that's Jermaine O'Neal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting choice here.
You want to score on my team? I dare you. You want to play my team in transition? I lose immediately.
Hey, Olajuwon in his prime was an athlete and a half.
That's true. And you know what?
Jermaine was a great athlete too.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. I got a couple ways I could go here. There's still some Hall of Fame caliber players on the board.
Oh yeah, there's some all-stars.
I would argue. Okay, so let's clarify one thing here. We said dunker / big man. Is that what we're doing here? Are we going? We're going pure dunks. Are we going pure dunker?
Do whatever you want. Who cares?
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's different.
You made up the rule.
People have to judge it. I'm asking what we're doing. You took O'Neal as your dunker / big man.
He's my dunker. He's both, baby.
Yeah. Okay. I think. Oh yeah. Okay. We're pretty deep there. All right. Okay. I'm gonna go. I gotta take big man / dunker. I gotta go. I already got my defense filled up, even though he would fit so perfectly. That's the thing. Defense is a deep category, but I'm gonna say Marc Gasol. Let's take him.
Oh, wow.
Let's take him as the big man. Let's put the big paella right up there. We're recreating a championship team here, and I think that's going to show.
Yeah, your team's pretty nasty so
played
far.
Less than 82 games, eh?
Sure did.
Wow.
Yeah, very, very injured in the run it back here.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, didn't play a ton there. I don't know. I will pull up exactly how many in just a sec here, but for some reason I only have the current Raptors roster in front of me. Okay, I got another pick, right? Because I'm the first here. So following up our big man, we got defense. Okay. Shooter.
Sorry, I have a question.
Yeah.
Do we count playoff games in the 82?
No,
just regular season.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry, I should have made that clear as well.
Otherwise, Gasol would definitely be over that.
Yeah, sorry. I was only counting regular season games.
Marc Gasol, 70 games.
Yeah.
Regular season.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to a category that I think is actually kind of slim. We need heart on this team. Okay. Now, look, do I think this player is going to be available at the end of the draft? Yes.
You're going with Nathan July, aren't you?
But
the guy who had heart issues for the
Ozzy Shaq.
We're talking about heart. We're talking about guys who like everyone loved when they were here. And there's we're talking about precious few players here. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this bold move. I'm going to take Charlie Villanueva as my heart.
Oh, that's nice.
Heart of the team.
Nice.
Made an impact on the people of Toronto. Made an impact points here. I was shocked to find out he played less than 82 games for the Raptors.
Also, I think his prime was his rookie year.
Oh, absolutely. You're right. So that's fair. One of the guys. Yeah. He's
also,
one of the guys.
It's a nice tie-in because he played for that Pistons team in my dumb quiz.
Yeah, I know. When you mentioned him earlier, I was like, oh my God, you're outing my heart pick. I can't believe it. I got to take him earlier now. All right, Freddie, you're on the board here.
Love him.
A lot of options here. But I think I'm gonna take my shooter. And just because he was a preposterously fun player to watch, and I think the quickest release I've ever seen in the NBA, I'm going with Steph's dad, Del Curry.
Ooh, very good pick.
Oh, I had Curry at over 80 games.
Oh, did I just mess up our draft?
I could have messed up. My bad. I'm slowing it down. Don't worry about it.
Hang on. It's okay. No. I can do. No. Oh, I might have misread. I think I maybe was looking at Michael Curry, which is very different.
Yeah, Michael Curry is honestly, maybe my least favorite Raptor to watch in the history of the franchise.
I'm calling
you're definitely Dell played 194 games.
Holy shit, my bad. Going full audible here.
You're way off.
I am abandoning my shooters because you know what? I don't need shooters anyways. So let me go with Hart. And my Hart is going to be the one and only hand down, man down, going Mark Jackson.
Oh, I was going to pick Mark Jackson next. Mama, there goes my man. Damn. Hey.
Amazing.
All right then. For my Heart, there was a Toronto Blue Jays team, I believe it was in the late 90s or early 2000s, where Jose Canseco joined the team.
Yes.
And everyone's home run production went up by like 55%. Everyone was buying steroids off of Jose. Miguel Tejada, Jose Cruz Jr., so many guys just started bashing dingers. So the guy I'm bringing in for my Heart is actually making my wild card, Rafael Araujo.
Hafa.
Wow.
Busted for steroids before he was drafted by the Raptors in the top 10 at 24 years old. Unreal. Was drafted because he was, in the quotes of the GM, very strong.
He's the reason I call the Ninja Turtle Raphael Hoffa. So
yeah. So one of the worst players I've ever seen, would get stripped by the ball all the time. But you know what? He's going to give everyone else on the team all the steroids, and you're going to see Peja Stojakovic at 275 pounds. You're going to see Sean Marion looking like LeBron James. Oh, it's going to be wild.
It's going to be like the WWE, man. It's going to be like Batista, you know.
This is good. This is good.
Peja Stojakovic,
strong as hell.
John Cena.
All right. So I have I need defense and I need a wild card. Oh no, I need a Heart. So for defense, you know what? This guy, even though I'm going to bring up some off, he bookended his career perfectly. He averaged 6 rebounds a game in his 6 offensive rebounds a game, and in the first year in the league, he averaged 10 fouls per 36 minutes. In the last year of his league, he averaged 10 fouls per 36 minutes. I'm going to go with Pops Mensah Bonsu as my Raptor choice. I loved him. I don't even think he played good defense, but he's my defensive stalwart on the team. If I want, I could switch Marion into my defensive guy and have him as my dunker, maybe.
These are some off the charts picks that I just didn't see coming, and I love them.
Okay, well, listen.
Also, I made a mistake. It was Mamadou Ndiaye who averaged 10 fouls per game for 36. But I'm sticking with Pops.
Also, maybe a better Heart pick. Also, Mamadou, like, come on.
I love Mamadou. I apologize.
There are I'm okay. I found my shooter. You literally can't get better than this. There's 2 players in Raptors history who have not missed a 3.
Oh my god, you're talking about
1,000% from 3.
Yes, 1,000%.
Eric Moreland is not the guy, but he took 1 3, canned it.
Whoa.
Nigel Hayes took 2 threes, canned them both. Nigel Hayes, the best shooter in Raptors history, played on the team 2018. I don't even remember him, but he's on my new squad.
I don't remember Nigel Hayes at all. He played in 2018?
I don't know why. I don't know how we forget him. He doesn't miss shots.
Jesus.
This is a bonkers choice.
Listen,
Nigel
I don't
Hayes.
want my shooter to miss. My team needs spacing, and Nigel Hayes doesn't miss. So
Nigel Hayes played a total of 9 NBA games. He played 2 for the Lakers, 2 for the Raptors, and 5 for the Spurs.
Wow. He shot 0 for 18 from 3 for the Spurs.
Sorry, the Kings. My
Did
bad.
he?
Kings.
No, I'm
Kings.
just joking. I made that up.
Kings, not Spurs. He played for the Kings. Yeah, wow. Just a great choice. Honestly, congratulations. You got him. Yeah, he's going to be my next pick, I bet.
Yeah, for sure.
I nailed the assignment. He actually did miss a lot of threes for his other team. Yeah,
his other team's not the legendary shooter you're making him out to be.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe bungled that. No worries.
Maybe bungled that. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, back to the winning team over here. We've got
I don't know what you're talking about. I have
the best defensive player
on my team.
We've got championship pedigree. We've got veteran presence. We've got heart. We've got one of the greatest charity donator starters
all right.
in Charlie V. That's the heart of the team. But we need, I'll say this. I think the squad could use shooting. The Raptors are rife with shooting. We got shooting all over the place. We got a lot of guys to choose from down there. But when it comes to wild card, we can go a lot of ways here. And I think I'm going to go with a guy we mentioned earlier. Some great leadership. We need a guy on this team who's going to be able to speak for the team, because the guys on my team, they're not great media forward guys, let's be honest. But I'm going to say that with this pick, I'm going to go with Chauncey Billups as our wild card.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
Chauncey. I once was outside of the old Air Canada Center, and the Pistons were in town, and there was a bunch of guys from Detroit just like air shooting threes going Chauncey. I was like, these guys love Chauncey. I was like, this is great. And ever since I've been a big fan. So yeah, Chauncey coming in as my wild card. And then I guess I'm gonna close it out here with the shooter. And you guys haven't taken him, so why not try and create the championship squad completely here with the guy who is I don't know if this is a famous story amongst anyone else who's a Raptors fan, but there's a point in the playoffs. I can't remember which series it was. I think
he's taking Jordan Lloyd, isn't he?
I think it was Philly.
Snagging Lloyd.
I do love the Jordan Lloyd championship story. It was so cool.
Okay, you guys tell me, because I don't think I've ever actually talked to you guys about this. I've talked to a bunch of my other friends about this, but there's a point during the Raptors run. Again, I think it was against Philly, maybe. But my pick, Danny Green, he's on the bench. He goes to Nick Nurse. He goes, put me in, coach. I got one in the barrel. And so
that rules.
And he goes out and he hits the three. It's whatever. I can't remember the specific game it happened in. But when I heard that story, I was like, Danny Green, what are you talking about? You got one in the barrel? You should have like 6 in the barrel, man. Have multiple in the barrel, please, at all times. So then for the rest of that playoff run, Danny Green was pretty garbage. And every time he missed a shot, me and any of the other guys I was watching with, we're just like, one in the barrel. Let's go.
Very good.
One in the barrel.
He knows himself.
He knows. Yeah.
He knows himself. Yeah. He knows that he can hit one when he says, and then never again.
And I contend that he played great defense in the playoffs.
Hey, listen, I don't mean as an overall. We're talking shooter. We're talking 3-point shooting.
You know what? I got to go against Andy and agree with Freddie. He played good defense in the playoffs.
You know what? You guys are right. This is a great defensive pick also for me. And Danny Green is going to show up on this squad.
Green Ranger.
There he is.
Pet
Tommy.
Snakes. Let's go.
All right, Freddie, you're up.
Okay. So considering that my 3-point shooter only ever really hit threes for the Raps, I got to stick with, so here's my team so far. I got Hakeem, the Dream, Jermaine O'Neal. I got Mark Jackson, who can hit the 3. But I'll as a coach, I'll instruct him not to take any. And Nigel Hayes, who really just don't get injured, dude.
The most
or get injured. Who cares?
Listen, Nigel, if you're listening, love to have you on the show.
He holds the record for the Raptors for a player who sounds most like a butler.
Nigel Hayes.
Didn't we have Rasul Butler?
We actually
never mind.
We had a guy named Butler. So
yeah, you're right.
But yeah, I don't think Butler's their last names aren't Butler. So yours is right. Okay.
How do you think it started? That's how it started.
Yeah, that I'm sure. Son of a Butler. Here we go. Son of a Butler. My guy. So we think about a wild card as like all over the place personality wise. I'm taking a different angle here. My wild card is someone who can change the game before they get on the court. So I'm going to go ahead and say I'm not taking him. I'm just going to make a little exemption here. I'm not taking him during his prime. I'm taking him currently as is. And that's popular podcaster and consultant Sean Marks.
Oh,
interesting.
That's right. Yeah,
so he's an executive.
Yeah, I'm taking an executive.
So you're doing this as like I want him to come on this show because I'm flattering him.
Nope,
I want a popular podcaster. No,
sorry, Sean. You only played 13 games as the Raptors. As the Raptor, I didn't even remember you. I just want you to come in and play in a suit.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, Sean Marks.
On Marks. All right. Well, there's your pick.
Well, Freddie went for a podcast guest. I'm just going to go for a sponsorship. The heart of my team is McDonald's. I just want McDonald's on my team. So I think I have Hart left, and there were a lot of people who I considered here. I almost went with Kevin O'Neill. That guy cared so much. The worst coach we've ever had. Broke a lamp when Jalen Rose broke his hand. Just a complete nonsense.
You break something,
coach.
I break something.
Yeah, you break. So yeah, there were other people I considered here. I almost went with Garth Joseph, aka Garjo, a 7'3", 325-pound player that only played 5 games.
Oh my god!
Wow.
Was nicknamed
Garjo
because
by who?
By the media, because at that point the Toronto Maple Leafs had Curtis Joseph Cujo, and so they're like, his name's Garjo, and we all love Garjo. No. Garjo was a 27-year-old rookie. So
that's
for
worked
Hart,
out a lot for us.
For Hart, I was going to go with Hedo Turkoglu. Decided to pass.
Yeah.
Wasn't completely sure about him. Then I decided maybe Goran Dragic. Took a pass on him and decided to go with Alonzo Mourning.
No, you didn't pick
the heart of my team.
Oh god, the villain.
Almost chose Antoine Jameson as well, who never played a game for the Raptors, but was a Raptor briefly before he was traded.
They're not even on this list because they didn't see the court. Well done.
And you know what? I almost picked Steve Francis because I bet if he was a Raptor, he wouldn't have played either. So the heart of my team was Alonzo Mourning.
The heart of your team is a person who refused to play.
I mean, I could put Araujo as the heart of my team, and that due to his steroid abuse, he probably has the biggest heart out of anybody on the entire roster.
Most controversial choices. I was ready to dog somebody for picking Zoe in like a real category because I was like, Raptors fans hate him. You guys are dead. You're gonna lose. But I'm not taking the draft seriously at all.
I can't believe nobody selected Mike James. Is my biggest surprise.
Oh, Mike James could have been a shooter for any team.
In many categories. He fits many of these categories.
And also,
BJ
prime as a Raptor.
Yeah,
PJ Tucker, is that what you said?
Well, PJ Tucker also I thought might go, but BJ Armstrong. Hey, come on!
Oh yeah,
the first he set a strong tradition of not playing for the team.
That is true. I mean? I could have picked him for sure. Jorge Garbajosa ended up not being picked. R.I.P. Porn player.
Yeah, true. I mean, a lot of great players. I mean, some legitimately very strong. Freddie, I'm shocked you didn't pick Luis Scola.
I really wanted to. I also wanted to pick Jimmy King, Fab Five. Early. I don't think his NBA career was great, but could have been.
No one picked the hated Kenny Anderson. No one picked the hated Rudy Gay. So okay, here we are, right? I mean, I guess these are our teams. No one. I almost picked Lou Williams as my wild card.
Hey, man, fair enough.
Wow, I didn't know he
strong.
He only had 1 year. Hey, point guard for my team is Sean Marion, so I probably could have used him.
Let's just recap our teams, just so everyone's sort of everyone who's listening along knows what's happening. For me, I have Kawhi Leonard at D, Gasol as our big man in the paint, Duncan, Charlie V as the heart of the squad, Chauncey Billups, the legendary Chauncey Billups as our wild card, and Danny Green with the smooth stroke as my shooter. I mean, this is an unstoppable team, championship caliber, all written all over this team.
Okay, well, check this out. Freddie Rivas coming in with Hakeem the Dream as my defensive player. Then I got Jermaine O'Neal as my big dunker. That sounds weird. Big dunker.
My big dunker. It's like we just found out about basketball.
Yeah. We got a little dunker and a big dunker. It's an astrology thing. I also I'm coming in with Mark Jackson as my heart. Hand down, man down, etc. And then I have Nigel.
Doesn't have a lot
Hayes.
of heart in his marriage, though, does he?
Hey!
Oh wow! Personal dig.
Take that.
Matt's coming for your team, Freddie.
I'm coming. Everyone cheats on their wives on Freddie's team. Nigel Hayes is the biggest bachelor in London.
Well, yes. So Nigel Hayes is my shooter. Incredible shooter as a Raptor. 2 for 2. And my final pick is Sean Marks. Can't beat a brain. Know what I mean?
Can't beat a brain.
Yeah. He's my wild card.
Well, to go back to Ninja Turtles, they definitely beat Krang every single time, which I have with Rafael Araujo as my power forward for my team. I'm just going to go with positions because I think it's funny. Alonzo is my center. Pops Mensa Bonsu, despite never having any ball skills whatsoever, is my small forward. Then we've got Stojakovic as my shooting guard, and a giant team. We're going positionless basketball, 6'9". Marion as my point guard.
Hey, there it is.
There you have it, folks.
There it is.
So we'll post this up. You guys tell us who has the best team. There's only one answer, obviously.
I think you were the only one who really put together a team. Freddie has a 60-year-old man on his
and a guy who played 9 NBA games.
Stop me if you can.
Going up against Olajuwon and Jermaine O'Neal in the paint.
I love it. Okay, everyone. Well, that's it, right?
Yeah, that's it for the pod. Let me just shout you out, McCready. Thanks for doing the pod. What do you got going on? What do you want to let people know about?
Yeah, I'm just recently got employed by this is exciting news. I guess I can bring it here. I got employed by the Golden Griddle as their pancake chef. So if anyone is looking for some pancakes, come on down. There's a new location on the AMC Dundas Square Plaza. It's in the very lower basement. It's next to Little Canada. So yeah, if anyone's interested in that, come on by, and I'll also be doing improv on that location as well. Please come and watch some improvisational comedy as I make you a delicious chocolate chip pancake.
Amazing. Go pay like $200, see some Canada miniatures, and get a mini pancake. From
yes, $200.
It's expensive. I was gonna go with my mom.
I
was like, whoa. But yeah, thanks for everyone listening. And we will see you next week. Thank you, Andy. Subscribe to Raptors Republic, and peace out.
Done.
Hey, thanks for having me. That was a real fun episode. I had a really good